Okay, let's talk about how to sort an array. So there is nothing we can do about this actual Excel worksheet, but we have to do it in Visual Basic. So let's open Visual Basic editor and make the fifth module. Okay, and at this moment we need to type this long code from task 8, and when you just maybe copy and paste, this line automatically produced. So we realize there are two different subroutines in there. Okay. Then let's try to understand this code. Okay, this subroutine titled get sort, so which means we need to do some kind of sorting in there, and we need an array. The title is ARR and number 5. Okay, we don't start with option base 1, which means we are going to have 6 kind of spaces or cells within that array, starting from 0 to 5, right? But in actual code, we are going to use only 1 through 5. So which means, yes, there is a place like array 0, but we are not going to use it. So having more space, it doesn't affect anything, right? If you have less number of one than you really need, then you are in big trouble. So it's okay. So without having option base 1 in front of this, still it's okay, right? But just to be careful, whenever you make that without option base 1, there are actually one more space right in there. Okay, now this is the first time to see this, which means in this array the contents of each cell should be a number. Not only number, it should be an integer. Okay? It only accepts that much. So if it's not a number, it's not going to accept it. Okay? So be careful. And the second one is, it's not many spaces in there, but it's just one array, right, with one cell or one space. And in that array, we want to put a string, which means a text. Okay? So we have 6 independent spaces in there, and we have only one space under the name str. Okay? And now we assign these numbers into these 5 array cells. Okay? And because they are numbers, we don't need any double quotation mark around it, right? If we just type the number, it understands that is a number and that is an integer, and it's accepted. And the string should contain text, right, or string, so it should be surrounded by double quotation mark. At this moment, there is nothing, right? Okay, so it's just empty string in there. Now this is for next code, right? So this is small chunk of that code. What this one do is let I moves from 1 to 5 and string. That array must be same as string itself to any value the string has before, and add ARRI in there, and this. Do you remember? We covered that one in the, task 1 or task 2, right? And it's actually kind of carry over one line, right? Remember, right? Okay, so let's start looking at this part. Look at this part. And when I is 1, then string becomes string plus that, right? And the previous string statement is just nothing in there, kind of empty, and add area 1, right? Then area 1 has number 8, so which means nothing and plus, but means just put together, right? So empty with 8. So this part becomes 8, right? So this string becomes 8 with one condition. Be careful. String is for the string or text. So whatever that contents are, it always treats it as a string, not a number. So even you have only number 8 as a contents at this moment, we treat that as a string, as a text, not number 8. So you cannot calculate it. Okay? And you just carry over one line and go to the next I, which is number 2. Then now this new string is combination of the previous string, which is 8, right? The string 8, and this one, which is area 2, which is 4. So right now 8 include 4 means 84. Looks like number 84, but once again that is a string or text. And we just change our line and do the same thing for I equals 3. So to 84, let me just say that, but be careful, it's not number. 84 and add the next number 3. So 843 will be our next string at the third line, and the fourth line is 8437, and fifth line 84372. That's what we are expecting. But now there is no outcomes we can see at this moment, because it's only internally within the Visual Basic, it just run by that way, but there is no physical outcomes that we could see yet. So we need this one, message box. Before sorting and carry over, it shows that it's the whole thing, right? Whatever the final outcome is, okay? It shows that. And the next one is, this is command call sort area. So it's just calling another subroutine, and that sort area is here, right? So this part is actually calling this whole thing. Okay. So this is another way to combine two subroutines together. Okay. Then at this moment, this string becomes another empty string, and do this again. And whatever the outcome looks like, we want to just show it in this message box. So when you run this get sort subroutine, we're expecting two different message boxes. And of course the text parts are different, but it looks like both of them using str, right? So you might think we get the same results, but be careful. Just before this part, we have a kind of string, right, for the str. Okay. But right after you start this one, we just reassign the empty for str. So we just clean up the whole str and do something about str again, and we are going to get this revised str here. So we might get different str even we use same command here. Then what this sort area do in this subroutine, we want to emphasize this area that should be integer, right? Okay. And temp is another array, right? And I is also an array, j is also an array. And for j starting from 2, okay, don't ask me why, but it goes to the upper bound of ARR. So let me explain one thing here. That's the most important one. When you make this subroutine, or for this subroutine, you don't know how many cells you are going to handle in this array ARR. Right? Whatever this the array is, you don't know how many cells you are going to include. So let's say in here you can assign 7 here, right? Then it's going to do 7, right? So j starting from 2 to 7. If you assign that is 10, then it's going to do 2 to 10. So that's the kind of good thing about these general forms here, right? And using this upper bound or lower bound, we did it before, right? So in this case, j should from 2 to 5, right? Okay. For this case only. And this temp is assign that ARR, in this case 2, right? Because we are doing this for part, and within for we do this for next again, right? So I starting from now C, why we start 2 for J, because I is starting from 1, right? And 1 to 1, right? So no matter what this step is, we want to just do when I equals 1 only here, and do this. And now we have to, after finish it, we have to check whether this value is same as temp, right? If it's not, then just do the next J. Okay. So it's very complicated, but this is actually the typical forms of sorting code. So just imagine you have a bunch of numbers, and you want to sort it within kind of increasing way or decreasing way, whatever. Then you have to save one number, the first number in the temp, right? Because maybe that number is not the smallest one, right? So, and after that you want to compare the temp with all the remaining values, and if you find any number which is less than temp, then you want to place that on in the first place, right? That's what this one do. And after you find the smallest one and place it the first case, then you go to the second one, right? So that's why you have to start from 2 for J, because you pick the first one and compare with all the remaining ones, right? So that's the meaning of it, but I think I'm gonna cover this one in class, right? But believe me, so in this case you don't need to touch this, or you cannot run this, because you have no idea, right? What is the meaning of this? What is the meaning of ARR? It doesn't understand it, right? This is only the kind of tools that you are going to use in here. So this is the actual one, actual values and contents. Okay, and look at here, when you do this, these numbers are all scattered, right? No nice increasing or decreasing way, right? It's just random way. But after you run this, you're going to have really nice arrangements for that. Okay, so let me just run it and see what happens. Before sorting, it just state the numbers as it is, right? And they're giving it, and click OK. Then after the sorting, it's kind of giving us this increasing way. Okay. Nice, right? Okay, that's what this one do. And so now we understand this one is simply just putting the numbers, right? Okay. So be careful, right? In here, you just state this one, but in this case, is after sort them, right? According to this. Okay.